diversity in comic books as we were really out in the universe and saying like, well, you know, most of these creators our characters were created in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and they were all white guys. And they're all popular, and their characters are great, but really our audience is so diverse. Like when we go to comic conventions, our audiences, they're all sorts of different backgrounds. And when I was going to create this new Green Lantern, I thought, oh, I wonder about, you know, an Arab American character. Oh yeah, that's Robot Chicken. I thought, like, are there any Arab American Green Lantern or Arab American superheroes? And I actually couldn't think of any, and that kind of bummed me out actually. So I decided to create an Arab American superhero, and I didn't want it to define who he was, but I wanted it to be in the DNA of who he is, just like, you know, just like me and my family and stuff. And so that's how Simon Baz and the Green Lantern was created. It's just from that, and I work with a lot of people on the book. Oh, here's Stars and Stripe. That's Stargirl, inspired by my sister. Great character. But anyway, so that's how, you know, that's a basic, brief overview of my career. And I'm going to tell you a few funny stories because those are always fun, and a few things like the world of Hollywood is really interesting. I was really, really lucky to work with Richard Donner because he's such a down-to-earth guy. He's from New York City, from Brooklyn, old school guy. He's about 80 years old now. But back when I was working with him, he was in his late 60s. And there was a day, we were working on a script called The High Lonesome. Great script. And this writer named Brian Helgeland, who has written a lot of things, including LA Confidential, was writing the script. And Dick said to us, there's something wrong with the third act. And scripts are 3 acts. They're about 120 pages. The third act is a climax. So you know when Luke Skywalker blows up the Death Star, that's like the third act. So he said, the third act's not working. So we need to fix this. And I said, okay. And he said, we need to go on a retreat. He kind of commanded it. We need to go on a retreat. That's what we had to do. I said, okay. And he said, we're going to go to my house in Hawaii for a week to work on it. I said, oh, you have a house in Hawaii? I'd never been to Hawaii. I said, okay, great. So I packed up all my stuff, and Brian and I and Dick flew to Hawaii. We flew on this private plane, which I'd never been on, so it was really a little scary because the plane was about that, like you could go like this and touch both sides of the plane. But we got to Hawaii, and we landed, drove to his house, which is right on the beach. It was beautiful. And we walked in, and he said, let's get to work, let's get to work. And I was like, all right, because I was used to working like crazy hours with him. And sat down, and he looked at me and Brian, and he said, okay, this is what I think's wrong with the script. He said, this, and this. We talked for about 5 or 10 minutes. And he got up and he walked to the kitchen, and Brian and I both looked at each other. And I walked up and I said, hey Dick, what do you want me to do now? Like, type notes up? Is there anything you need to do around the house? He goes, we're going to think about that for a week. I said, oh, okay. So the rest of the week, we just hung out. It was right? And Warner Brothers paid for that flight. So when I realized he just wanted a vacation, he wanted some company. So that was really one of the greatest moments in working for Richard Donner. Now I'll tell you one of the worst moments working for Richard Donner. He used to have me drive his Suburban. Have you guys ever seen a Suburban? It's about 100 feet long. It's like a limo. So he had me drive the Suburban, and he said, I need to go wash the car and get it gassed up. I had to do all sorts of menial jobs. I got to work on screenplays, and then I got to research the best whirlpools they made. All right? And this is, again, before the internet. So I had to call these companies, and like not before the internet existed, I'm not that old, but before it was like really available, before there were really good resources. And so I'm in this Suburban, and I'm going to get it washed, and literally the car wash is a block from the studio. And I pull out I'm at the studio gate, I pull out, and a semi-truck carrying cars hooks the bumper and drags the semi-truck, and it lifts, and don't forget, it lifted up off the ground like that, and closed against the semi-truck like someone slamming a door, and the entire truck crushed, the glass blew up in my face, and I got thrown back to the studio. You might not know this, Grandma. Your blood pressure is good, right? And so I got thrown back towards the studio. I hit an electrical box, and it exploded, and I always show people, because I work at the lot now, I'm like, see that electrical box? It looks brand new. That's me. So I hit the box, it goes up, I go through a gate, and I land in between two cars in Warner Brothers, and all 4 tires go out. And I'm holding it happened so quick, I'm holding the steering wheel and I let it go. People are running out of the building. It's like, are you okay? And I try and open the door, it won't open, so I get on the other side. And I walk out, I sit down on the step to a building, and I pull up my cell phone. And everyone's asking me questions, and I'm like, I call the number, I say, hey Dick, it's Geoff. He goes, where are you? I said, I think I'm fired. And he says, where are you? I said, well, your car, I think your car might need a little repair, and I told him what happened. And he said, are you okay? I said, yeah. And he said, as long as you're okay, it doesn't matter. I'm like, wow, you're so nice. I can't believe it. He goes, I got that car for free. And he did. He did. You find out like the most well-off people in Hollywood get everything for free. They just want to be seen driving. So anyway, that was probably the low point of my career with Richard Donner. Let's see, what else can I tell you about me? Does anybody have any questions or any? I can go on forever and tell. Oh, the Boba Fett story. Okay, so this has nothing to do with anything. It's just a funny story, and it's so I can tell my mom like, you owe me one anyway. So when I was a kid, my brother and I saw this giveaway. We used to buy Star Wars. I don't know how many guys bought Star Wars figures or know about Star Wars figures. We used to buy Star Wars action figures, and on the back one day it said free Boba Fett figure, and if you send in this many proofs of purchase. And so my brother and I collected those proofs of purchase, and we gave them to my mom. My mom said, okay, I'm sending them in. She sent them in, and we ask her every day, Mom, where's the Boba Fett figure? It's not here yet. Almost here. Okay, great. Weeks go by, weeks go by. Finally, my mom goes, it came, and my brother and I are like super excited. And she comes and she hands us 2 figures in packages, and they're the Death Star droid, this rectangular thing with legs. And she said, the note said they were all out of Boba Fett's, and this was the only action figure they could give you. Right? So I was bummed, but so years later, my mom says, oh, that was me. I forgot to send in a proof of purchase. So that's a little question. Yeah, thanks, Mom. But I'd love to just kind of talk with you guys. I've talked enough. I've told you a little bit about what I've done and the kind of trouble I get into. And I'm happy to talk about why I love writing and why I love superheroes and all that fun stuff too. But I can do it through some questions, I think.
Can we get people online because we're recording?
Oh, sure.